"Hold me closer," Madison Clarke whispered in a freezing Alaskan cabin. Logan Pierce looked at her and said, "This isn't about warmth anymore." Under a sky that wanted them dead, a helicopter crash stripped away titles, power, and pride, leaving only two wounded souls fighting the cold, and the truth they couldn't ignore. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, have you ever received a message or faced a moment that changed your life forever? And where are you watching from? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more real emotional stories. Let's begin. Logan Pierce hated Manhattan in winter. Not because it was cold, Logan understood cold. He'd sat beside a hospital bed for 3 straight nights while his wife, Emily, drifted in and out of sleep, her fingers losing warmth 1 centimeter at a time. He'd learned the difference between chilly and life leaving the room. He hated Manhattan because it never paused long enough for grief to catch up. At 35, Logan moved through Clarke Industries like a ghost with a badge, operations analyst, reliable, quiet, efficient. Words people used when they didn't know what else to say to a widower who showed up on time and never talked about the ring-shaped pale mark on his left hand. His real job started at 6:30 a.m. Harper's oatmeal. Harper's hair, 2 braids, uneven, but she said it made her look like a superhero. Harper's backpack. Harper's kiss on his cheek that always landed too close to his eye because she still didn't understand AIM. "Are you coming to my science thing?" Harper asked that morning, standing in socks on the kitchen tile. Logan crouched to her level. "I'm trying, kiddo. It's a work trip." Her smile flickered. "To where?" He hesitated. "Alaska." Her eyes widened like he'd said the moon. "That's where polar bears live. And where people wear coats that look like sleeping bags." "Bring me a rock," she demanded, then softened. "A nice one." Logan promised he would, even though promises had become dangerous things in his life. 3 hours later, he was in a glass conference room on the 48th floor, staring at Madison Clarke. She was younger than most CEOs he'd met, early 30s, but she carried authority the way winter carried silence. Madison's hair was pinned back in a disciplined knot. Her suit looked like it had never touched a wrinkle. Her eyes were a cool gray that made people speak faster, as if time cost more around her. "Logan Pierce," she said, not as a greeting, but like she was confirming a detail she'd already memorized. "Yes, ma'am." "Don't call me that." Madison slid a folder across the table. "Clarke Industries is acquiring a luxury resort outside Anchorage. We're sending a team to inspect operations and finalize terms. Weather is unstable. Vendors are unstable. The current owners are creative with numbers." Logan opened the folder. "Supply chain. Fuel delivery routes. Emergency backups. Staffing rosters." He saw it immediately, the holes, the weak links, the quiet disasters waiting to happen. "You're coming with me," Madison said. "Because you notice what other people ignore." Logan's throat tightened. "I have a 6-year-old daughter. I'll need to arrange childcare." For the first time, Madison's gaze held his for longer than 2 seconds. Something shifted, not softness, not exactly, but recalibration. "Make it work," she said. "We leave Thursday." That night, Logan called Emily's mother. The relationship had never healed after the funeral. Grief made people choose villains, and when there wasn't one, they invented them. "You want me to take Harper," Emily's mother said flatly. 3 days, Logan replied. 4, at most. A long silence. Then, begrudgingly, "Bring her coat. The blue one. Not the cheap one you bought last month." Logan swallowed his pride. "Thank you." He hung up and stared at Harper's drawing on the fridge, stick figures holding hands beneath a bright yellow sun. Emily was always in the drawings, because Harper refused to let her disappear. Logan packed that night with the same method he used to pack his life, carefully, quietly, leaving no room for hope to spill. Thursday came fast. At the private terminal, Madison walked past the team like they were extensions of a machine. She barely spoke, except to correct a detail or cut a conversation short. Logan sat near the window on the flight, watching the coastline fade into white. He checked his phone again and again, even though Harper was safe. Then a message flashed on his screen, unknown number. "Don't go." Logan stared at it, heart tightening. He typed back, "Who is this?" No response. He told himself it was spam. But his stomach didn't believe him. 2 hours later, as the plane cut toward the north and the sky turned the color of steel, Madison sat across the aisle, reviewing documents. Logan's phone buzzed again. "She won't come back if you do this." His hands went cold. Because that wasn't random. That was personal. And the worst part? Logan realized he hadn't told anyone outside the office that he was going on this trip. Not even Emily's mother. Not even Harper. So how did someone else know? He looked up, searching the cabin. Madison's eyes lifted at the exact same moment. And for the first time, her expression wasn't composed. It was alert. Like she'd just heard a sound in the dark. The resort was beautiful in the way expensive things often were, too perfect to trust. Glass walls facing mountains. Heated pools steaming against the wind. A lobby that smelled like cedar and money. Employees moved with rehearsed smiles, but their eyes kept darting toward the windows. Storm was coming. A local manager named Douglas met them at the landing pad, his face carved by years of cold. "Weather's turning faster than forecast," he warned. "You don't want to fly tomorrow." Madison didn't even blink. "We'll be done by morning." Logan kept his mouth shut, but he wrote it down. Because the numbers in the folder didn't match the reality on the ground. Fuel backup was weaker than reported. Emergency radios were outdated. The resort's generator maintenance logs had gaps that looked like someone had erased trouble. At dinner, Madison negotiated like a surgeon, precise, ruthless, efficient. Logan watched her hands. They didn't shake. But when she thought no one was looking, her fingers pressed too hard into her water glass, knuckles widening, like she was holding something in place inside herself. Later that night, Logan stepped outside to call Harper. His daughter answered on the second ring, face filling the screen, cheeks flushed from bath time. "Daddy. Are there polar bears?" "No polar bears," he lied, because Harper didn't need new fears. "Did you bring the rock?" "I'm working on it." Behind Harper, Emily's mother moved through the kitchen without looking at the camera. Harper leaned closer. "Don't get lost," she whispered, serious. "Because I don't like when people don't come back." Logan's chest tightened. "I'm coming back," he said, and hated himself for the lie he couldn't guarantee. When he hung up, he found Madison standing under the resort's overhang, coat pulled tight, eyes on the storm. "You call your daughter every night," she said. Logan blinked. "Yes." A pause. Then, almost too quiet, "She's lucky." Logan studied her. "Do you have anyone you call?" Madison's jaw flexed. "My assistant," she said finally. "My board. People who need answers." "That's not what I asked." She looked at him then, really looked. "And that," she said, "is why I brought you." Before dawn, Douglas knocked on doors again, voice harder this time. "Now. You leave now." The helicopter crew rushed them onto the pad. Wind slapped the air with invisible hands. Snow wasn't falling yet, but the sky had that heavy, waiting look. Logan buckled in, heart thudding. Madison sat across from him, face unreadable, eyes fixed on the horizon. The pilot's voice crackled through headsets. "We're pushing it." Madison said, "We'll be fine." But Logan noticed something. The pilot's hands. They were shaking. The helicopter lifted anyway. For 10 minutes, it was steady. Then the world changed. Wind slammed into them sideways. The aircraft bucked like an animal trying to throw them off its back. Mountains disappeared into white. The pilot swore. "We need to land." A violent drop stole Logan's breath. Metal screamed. Someone shouted. Madison's eyes met Logan's across the cabin, wide, not panicked, but awake to reality. Like she had just realized, control was a myth. Then the helicopter tilted. Time split into sharp, cruel moments. The sound of bolts rattling. A warning light blinking wrong. Logan's last thought, Harper will ask why I didn't come back. Impact. Darkness. Silence. Then cold, cold with teeth. Logan woke half inside twisted metal, blood on his forehead, shoulder screaming. He dragged himself out, stumbling into snow. He shouted names. The pilot was alive, barely. 2 executives, hurt, moaning. And Madison. Logan found her half buried 20 feet away, limp, lips already turning blue. "No," he whispered, digging with bare hands until his fingers burned. Pulse, there, faint, stubborn. He looked back at the wreck, at the others. He looked around at endless white. Then he saw it, a dark shape down slope. A cabin. Logan made a decision that would haunt him forever. He couldn't save everyone. But he could save one. He lifted Madison Clarke into his arms and staggered into the storm. The cabin was abandoned, but it had 4 walls and a roof, which meant it was mercy. Logan kicked the door open and carried Madison inside. He laid her on a cot and immediately regretted it. The cot was colder than air. He pulled her back into his arms, sharing body heat like it was currency. His fingers trembled as he searched. A rusted stove. A metal tin of matches. 3 logs of firewood. 2 thin wool blankets that smelled like mildew and salvation. Logan struck a match. It broke. Second match fizzled. Third caught. Flame bloomed small and beautiful and fragile. He fed it wood with shaking hands until the stove gave off warmth. Madison didn't wake. Logan melted snow in a dented can, praying it wouldn't poison them. He checked his phone, no signal. He turned it off to save battery. Hours passed in darkness and wind. Then Madison stirred. A sound, almost a whimper. Logan was at her side instantly. "Hey. Can you hear me?" Her eyes opened unfocused, then sharpened with alarm. She tried to sit up and failed, breath hitching. "Easy," Logan said. "We crashed. We're in a shelter cabin. The storm's bad." Madison's gaze locked on him. "You brought me here." "Yes." "Why?" It wasn't gratitude. It was confusion, like kindness didn't fit into her worldview. "Because you were dying," Logan said simply. Madison stared at the ceiling like she was recalculating everything she'd ever believed. Outside, the storm intensified. The cabin creaked under wind pressure. Logan rationed wood. Madison, even injured, watched him with a CEO's focus. "Inventory," she said hoarsely. Logan blinked. "What?" "Supplies." She pushed herself upright in painful increments. "Food. Water. Fuel. Time." He almost laughed, except it wasn't funny. It was survival. Rice, old, but edible. Oil, half bottle. Salt, brick. Wood, enough for maybe a day and a half. Madison divided rice portions with precision using the salt tin like a measuring cup. Logan cooked it. It tasted like nothing. It tasted like life. They ate in silence. Then Madison spoke again, voice quieter. "Tell me about Harper." Logan's throat tightened at the name, like saying it aloud might summon her. "She's 6. She thinks rocks are treasures. She thinks I can fix everything." Madison's eyes flickered. Children believe in their parents. Logan studied her. "Did you?" Madison didn't answer immediately. "My parents," she said finally, staring at the fire, "believed in results. Not people." The way she said it, flat, factual, made Logan's chest tighten. He had lived with grief. She had lived with emptiness and called it strength. Night came again. The fire burned lower. The cabin's temperature dropped. Madison shivered despite blankets. Logan noticed, then did what he always did when someone depended on him. He moved closer. "Body heat," he said, like he was explaining to himself. Madison didn't move away. Her voice came smaller than he expected. "I hate waiting." "You can't control a storm," Logan said. "I control everything else." Logan watched the fire shrink. "Maybe that's the problem." Her eyes snapped to his. "Excuse me? You don't have anyone waiting for you. You don't let anyone in. And out here?" He gestured at the cabin, the snow, the wind. "Out here, none of your titles matter." Madison looked like she might cut him in half with words. But instead, she swallowed. And her composure cracked just enough for honesty to slip through. "I'm afraid," she whispered. Logan's heartbeat slowed, heavy with recognition. "Me too." Madison's eyes glistened. "When we get out, will this matter?" Logan didn't answer fast, because he could already feel the trap of that question. Survival made bonds. Life tested them. "I don't know," he said finally. "But we get to choose what's real." Madison's breath shook. "I don't know how to be different." "You don't have to become someone new overnight," Logan said. "Just 1 hour at a time." Madison let out a laugh, short, surprised, almost human. Then she leaned, barely, against his shoulder. And Logan realized something terrifying. He wasn't just keeping her alive. He was starting to care. Outside, the storm screamed. Inside, the fire died lower. And Logan saw it through the small window, far off in the white. A faint dark plume. Smoke. "Someone's out there," Madison whispered. Logan stared, heart hammering. Because smoke meant people. And people meant questions. And questions meant the anonymous texts might not be a coincidence. Morning came in a brighter gray, the storm finally thinning like a curtain lifting. Logan stood at the window, watching the smoke again, still there, faint but steady. Madison was already moving, slower than usual, but determined. "We go now." Logan tightened the straps on a makeshift pack made from rope and tarp. "We go carefully." They stepped outside. The cold hit like a fist. Snow swallowed their boots. Wind still snapped at them, but visibility was better. The mountains looked endless and indifferent. Madison walked beside Logan, jaw set, refusing weakness. It would have impressed him, if it didn't scare him. "Don't push too hard," Logan warned. "I'm fine." "You're not," he said, and the bluntness made her glance at him sharply. Then she did something unexpected. She didn't argue. She just said, quieter, "I don't like being the weak one." Logan swallowed the urge to say you're not weak. Because Madison wasn't weak. She was afraid of being human. They moved toward the smoke for what felt like hours, each step a negotiation with exhaustion. Halfway, Logan's phone, kept off to save battery, buzzed in his pocket. He froze. Madison turned. "What?" Logan pulled it out, heart pounding. No signal, but the phone vibrated again like a warning. A text appeared. Turn back. Logan stared, blood draining from his face. Madison stepped closer, reading over his shoulder. Her expression changed, not fear, but calculation. Someone has a satellite link, she said. Or an emergency transmitter. Someone is tracking us. Logan's mind raced. Why? Madison's eyes narrowed, cold returning like armor snapping back into place. Because someone benefits if I don't come back. Logan looked at her. This is about your company. It's about control, Madison said. And someone thinks I'm easier to remove than to beat. They kept walking, but now every sound felt watched. When they finally reached the source of smoke, relief crashed into Logan so hard his knees almost gave out. A ranger station, small, sturdy, half buried in drift. A man stepped onto the porch, shocked to see them. Then shouted inside. Rescuers came running. Blankets. Hot water. Voices that sounded like safety. Logan's body sagged, adrenaline draining. Madison didn't sag. She scanned faces like she was counting threats. A ranger handed Logan a radio. We got a distress ping from the crash site. You're lucky, real lucky. We thought. Madison cut in, voice sharp. Who received the ping? Who relayed it? The ranger blinked. Private service. Someone from your company called it in. Madison went still. Logan felt it, like temperature dropping. Madison's voice came low. My company, called it in. Logan stared. Isn't that good? Madison looked at him, eyes hard. Not if the same person who called it in also tried to keep us from getting here. Logan's phone buzzed again. A final message. We'll finish it in New York. 3 weeks later, Manhattan looked the same. That was the problem. The city hadn't changed because Logan nearly died. The streets still roared. The trains still screamed. People still rushed past each other like kindness was a luxury item. But Logan had changed. He walked into Clarke Industries with a body still healing and a mind still replaying snow, smoke, and Madison's breath against his shoulder in the dark. Madison called him to her office on the first morning back. She looked flawless, like Alaska had been a bad dream. Except her eyes gave her away. They were awake in a new way, like she'd seen the bottom of her own life and didn't want to fall again. I'm promoting you, she said, sliding a folder across the desk. Logan blinked. Madison. Flexible schedule. Higher pay. You'll never have to choose between Harper's school event and this building again. She paused. That's not charity. That's correction. Logan swallowed. Thank you. Madison watched him carefully. And the texts? Logan stiffened. You believe me? I have an internal investigation. Her voice went colder. Someone tampered with our flight approvals. Someone pushed the pilot. Someone wanted the storm risk ignored. Logan's skin crawled. And you think it's someone inside? I know it is. A beat of silence. Then Madison's voice dropped. Logan, was Alaska real? Or was it just survival? Logan's throat tightened because he'd asked himself the same question 100 times while braiding Harper's hair, while washing dishes, while staring at Emily's photo at night. I don't know, he admitted. But I know you weren't a CEO out there. Madison's jaw flexed. And you weren't just an employee. That truth hung between them like a bridge neither knew how to cross. Madison cleared her throat, awkward for the first time. I invited you over. Logan blinked. Over? My apartment, she said, as if she was announcing a quarterly call. And Harper. If that's okay. Logan hesitated, heart thumping hard. Why? Madison's eyes flickered, vulnerability struggling against habit. Because I don't want to go back to being alone, she said quietly. And I don't know how to do this except, clumsily. That evening, Logan stood outside Madison's building with Harper in her puffy coat, clutching a small rock she'd painted silver. A gift, Harper whispered. In case she's sad. Logan rang the bell. The door opened. Madison stood there in simple clothes, hair down, holding a box. Harper peeked around Logan's leg. Hi. Madison did something Logan never expected to see. She knelt. Like she was meeting Harper where she lived. Hi, Harper, Madison said softly. I researched what kids like. Harper's eyes narrowed suspiciously. Like what? Madison lifted the box. Pancake mix. Harper gasped like Madison had revealed treasure. You have pancakes? Madison nodded. And strawberries. If that's acceptable. Harper looked up at Logan for confirmation. Logan nodded, throat tight. That's very acceptable. In the kitchen, Madison moved awkwardly, learning. Logan watched her hands, still precise, but now doing something that wasn't about profit. Harper sat at the counter, swinging her feet, telling Madison about school, about how her dad made weird braids, about how she missed her mom, but it's okay sometimes. Madison listened like the words mattered more than numbers. Logan leaned against the doorway, watching. And for the first time since Emily died, he felt something that wasn't grief. It was fear. Because caring meant risk. But it also meant living. Madison caught Logan's eye across the room. Not a CEO's gaze. A person's. She didn't say I need you. She didn't have to. Her hands shook slightly as she flipped a pancake. Logan stepped forward without being asked and steadied the pan. Madison exhaled, a small sound like relief. And Logan understood the ending wasn't a declaration. It was a choice. 1 hour at a time. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more stories that stay with you.